maybe the script was written long ago, and I just volunteered to jump into this movie with this script and get terminal cancer and get rid of it and understand a lot about the body-mind relationship on a practical level so that I could then share it with others and do something good in the world. It seemed to me when I was, maybe 8 years old, I looked around and was looking at life and death, and people died. It was part of life, and about a week later, it was like the person was never there. It was like they were just gone, and life went on, and I thought that seemed to be such a waste. And what made more sense to me, when I'm going to leave this plane of existence, I want to leave something behind that says I was here. I want to leave behind a positive contribution. So, I mean, that was a very conscious decision I made at that point. But again, if the entire script was written, maybe I was supposed to make that decision, and then I was supposed to go through this experience of illness and learning about all this stuff, and having what people call near-death experience, going through the tunnel to the other side and coming back to learn about the spiritual nature of who we are really, beyond what religion teaches us, because I think there's a shortcoming there that I think religion should teach us about the nature of who we are and what happens when we die. And I also had some other feelings about the spiritual path. Again, when I was having an operation in 1975 that was supposed to remove the tumor, I went through the tunnel that people talk about, and I came back different. And up until that point, I was agnostic. I believed in nothing. Show me, prove me, because I don't believe anything. And so I was totally unprepared for what I experienced. But it showed me the nature of who we are, and I looked at this. How come I never knew what was going to happen? How come I didn't learn anything about this? And I thought I should. And I took a look at people's relationship with religion, and how many people were trying to fit themselves into the rules of religion rather than being real, rather than being in touch with their real values and who they are. And it seemed to me that your spiritual path is the path of your spirit. It's not to change yourself. It's not to fit into some model of what you should be, but rather to look around out there and ask yourself, who out there is describing my way of being? That's my path. That's who I am. I shouldn't have to fit myself into anything. If we take a look at what we consider the models of spiritual evolution, if we take a look at a Buddha, a Jesus, anybody, none of them are trying to be somebody they're not. They're fully accepting their individuality. They're fully accepting who they are, whether or not the people around them understand that or agree with it or whatever. But that's who they are. And that ultimately is what we respect about them, that they are fully themselves. So I decided for myself, I don't want to fit myself into some model of what somebody else thinks I should be. I have to totally be me, and I think that that's what makes sense. So yeah, for me, this is primary rule number one: do what makes you happy. Stop doing what makes you unhappy, and trust your trip. Wake up! It's a wake up.
Yeah.
We have different levels of being, different levels of consciousness, and we put different names on them. I would say I would talk about soul, spirit, and personality. And if we talk about the level of the soul is the part of you that travels through one lifetime after another. Uh, Let me say, back up a minute. The nature of consciousness is to move toward the completion of the pictures you put in your consciousness. So if you start with a stillness, and then you have a wish, then you have a goal, then you're moving toward the completion of your goal. And along the way, of course, events in the outer world are moving you towards that. But also along the way, you're having other goals. Hey, it would also be nice if, and that would be nice if, and I would like this, and so the path toward fulfillment, I can say, is not so direct. It becomes a bit more complex in interacting with others. And at the same time, if we look at our lives, if we look back at our lives, we can recognize at some point we made a decision. It would be nice to have something, to do something, to achieve something, to experience something. And then at another point in our life, it happens. It happens. So it's like we've asked something from the universe, and the universe delivers it in some way that's in accord with what we let ourselves to believe is possible. So these esoteric principles, they're not just mind games. The objective is for us to understand our life and how it works and how things happen. And so when we can see this as an operative principle in our life, that we are moving toward the completion of goals that we have established or asked for earlier, the next question is what happens when we reach the end of a lifetime and we haven't yet experienced all of the things that we've asked for. And as I see it, we go to the other side and we look around and we ask ourselves, where is there another storyline that continues this process of the delivery of things that I have asked for? Okay, there's one. I can jump into that movie down there and see it through the eyes of that character, and the process will continue. Okay, so when we're looking at things in this way, and when we go out there deciding what movie to jump into, then I'd say we're talking about the level that we call the soul. Take a little. And when we're looking at the movie down there and the character that's in that movie, then that character is the level that we can call the spirit, the individualized consciousness in that lifetime. So in a way we can say the soul is the actor, and the spirit then is the part that the person is playing, the character that they're playing in a particular lifetime. So we come into a certain lifetime as a baby. We're suddenly discovering what is this thing, this body, and how does it work, and then we interact with our next level of surroundings, our connections with our parents, and then we make some sounds. Mama. Everybody makes a big deal about it, rewards us with a lot of love. We learn something, wow, and we live for love, we need more. So we continue to learn. And pretty soon what happens is we identify ourselves by what we know rather than by who we are. And then we develop this level that people call the personality or the ego. So the personality or the ego is, for most people, their level of everyday attention. So we have this level of everyday attention here, and when something comes up and it's not resolved, we put it away down there somewhere to a deeper level of our consciousness where it's still running. So that deeper level of our consciousness where it's still running, that's what the Western traditions are calling the subconscious or the unconscious. But that's who we really are. So when we hear you had a subconscious wish for that to happen, it means the real you wanted that to happen. So that's the real you. The level of the spirit, level of personality is who you think you are. But the level of the spirit is who you really are. And so what we do is we make the subconscious or the unconscious conscious. When we're looking at the body-mind relationship and seeing the message of the symptoms, then we're saying this is the message from that level of our being, from who we really are, the level of the spirit others refer to as the subconscious or the unconscious. But the level of personality is our sense of identifying with our mind and with our mental processes. And yet the people that we consider evolved are those who have succeeded in quieting their mind, in turning off their mind, at least for periods of time. But because people identify themselves by their mental activity, it's I think, therefore I am. They equate existence with thinking. And then they're afraid to stop thinking because what's going to happen? I mean, it's oblivion, it's unknown, and they have to learn to trust that. And as people do more and more meditation and allow themselves to go more and more quiet, they can experience periods of time where their mind can go quiet and, hey, I'm not thinking, but I'm still experiencing. I'm experiencing something, you know? And so some people are using as meditation, just watching their breathing. And I remember when I first heard about that, I thought, okay, I watch my breathing. It's boring, nothing's happening, you know, I didn't know what the whole purpose of it was. But the objective was just to hold attention on something happening in the present moment. And when your attention is on something happening in the present moment, that attention has to come away from the thoughts and from the thinking processes. And that's what allows the mind to become more quiet and eventually to stop. And to be engaged when we choose to engage it, or to let it rest when we don't particularly need it in the present moment. And when we do that, then we're able to be more directly in touch with this deeper part of our consciousness, with the level that we call the spirit, and being aware of why we do things, what's the motivation behind our actions, looking at ourselves in a way like observing ourselves from 1 meter behind ourselves. It's we can see the outer theater, but we can understand why we're doing that. What is the expected response we are soliciting, or what's the purpose of this outer theater? Of course, the Western traditions tend to call this schizophrenic. You know, they put a pejorative label on anything that's, you know, not society's values. But the beings that we consider evolved are the beings who can observe things from this point of view. For myself and my own evolution, what helped me was to understand that everything that happened in my life was what I really wanted to happen at some level. And in that way, to align my level of personality with my level of spirit, to acknowledge, yeah, at some point I did decide I wanted that, and then that happened. Or at some point I did decide that I didn't want that to happen, and then it didn't happen. And so with this conscious sense of alignment, I could still use my mind, I could still engage my mind. I didn't have to destroy my mind, I didn't have to kill my ego, if you wish. I don't know, the thought of killing one's ego or destroying one's ego, it's like, why would somebody have to destroy some part of themselves in order to evolve? It's more just aligning everything in a particular direction that makes more sense and allows the person to live more consciously, more deliberately. Listening to beings that we consider evolved, and they're telling us we're unlimited, if we consider them evolved, we have to consider they might be right. And if we're really unlimited, then any thought, any belief, any concept that limits us is by its nature invalid and can be replaced with another idea, another belief, another concept that more reflects the unlimited nature of our being. So while we're told we're beings without limits, we're told that we can do anything, we're told that we are just unlimited, most people are not living that kind of life because of the way they have been limiting themselves with their thoughts, with the words that they use, with the way they talk to themselves, with their habits of speaking. At the same time, in our personal evolution, it's a conscious decision we make. It's not an obligation. It's a decision to love. It's a decision to live from that place of wanting to do something, of wanting to help people around, of wanting to go beyond individual interests and see what we can do for each other. How can we improve the quality of existence, not only for ourselves, but for people around us? And doing that, having a sense of satisfaction, having a sense of purpose in doing something that benefits others. So for me, it's just an essential truth. It's what I see and what I understand in working with healing. When someone becomes ill with a terminal illness, if they want to get better, they have to resolve the situation that they were unhappy about in order to have something to look forward to. I saw that there were people in the world who left something behind. Leonardo da Vinci, Albert Einstein. I mean, people who left behind a contribution, and because they left behind a contribution, there was evidence that they were there, and the memory that they were there, it just continues. I thought that's what I want for me. I don't want to consider that my time here has just been, killing time while time has been killing me. I want to do something in a way that contributes, that enhances whatever is left behind. And so that's when I say I look behind and recognize that decision and see, okay, I've gone through these tough times myself, but learned something, and having learned something, I've also been able to share it, and then people's lives have been saved, people's lives have changed. There is a positive contribution that I've left behind, and I would like to think that whatever it is that I'm leaving behind in terms of this body mirror system or whatever else I might do in this lifetime, that will continue to be a reminder that I was here. In a positive way.